Hello. So the learning objective that I'm going to be talking about is comparing and contrasting an open loop control system versus a closed loop control system. So both of these systems involve a control process that develops movements and sends movement instructions to the efferents in order to achieve a desired outcome. So both systems can be found in similar and day-to-day activities. So the major difference between the two is that a closed loop control system has feedback and an open loop control system doesn't. So an open loop control system first starts at the movement control center, which would be considered the brain or like the nervous system, and then it'll flow through movement instructions, also known as the plan of action, and then result in a movement effector. So the movement effector is the end product of a joint or a muscle. So pretty much the action that was committed. And the body uses an open loop control system when the movement is very fast and the body has no time for that kind of feedback. And then the open loop doesn't use feedback because the action either doesn't need it or doesn't, like, these actions are way too fast, so it doesn't really have time to receive this kind of feedback. So these movements that happen in the open loop control system are also usually easier and don't need any altering. This kind of movement can include running on a treadmill because it's constant and repetitive exercise that has no need for altering because the treadmill is set to a constant speed. On the other hand, for the closed loop control system, this brain to muscle movement happens a little differently. So the movement control center goes through the movement instructions as before, then results in movement effectors. But after the movement effectors, there is feedback that the movement effectors go to, which round out and go back to the movement control center again. So the feedback role is so that after the exercise, can go back to the control center and make alterations and say, hey, this part was wrong, or we need to increase the speed of this happening. So whatever the body needs to improve in that. Exercise the feedback will let it know and redo the movement to get better. So these movements are not very fast and are continuous so that the control center resends movement instructions to the efferents to keep modifying one's actions. An example of this can be snowboarding down a slope or like a mountain because there's a constant change in speed, technique, and terrain that the body mechanically has to shift and change its muscles and strength and the overall movement.